Ladies and gentlemen, we've made it. It's been a year of podcasting for the Orange and Black SoccerCast, and we have a lot of stuff to talk about today. We have some soccer to talk about. We've brought some friends along to help us celebrate, and we've got the usuals here as well. So we're going to go ahead and get things going with all of this. I hope you're ready for some fun tonight. I hope I'm ready. I got to get all my stuff set up here. This is the Orange and Black SoccerCast.
We are underway in the postseason, the first playoff game ever played in Orange County.
It's a 1-2, Godoy. He's found a great ball into Voltson. Plenty of time. He smashes it home and doubles the visitors' lead. Thomas into Voltson.
Now Segber sprinting forward on the counterattack. A little handsy there, crosses it. Pineda, the extra pass. Seaton finishes.
It rolls down to his left and parrying aside. Well taken care of by the Orange County keeper.
We'll leave it for Aiden Quinn.
He'll strike towards goal, and it's gone in! An equalizer and a winner in second half stoppage time for Orange County off the left boot of Aiden Quinn.
This is the Orange and Black SoccerCast, the only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. Follow us on Twitter at OCSC_SoccerCast and on Facebook at Orange and Black SoccerCast. How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black SoccerCast, brought to you by Roughneck Scarves and Gold and Gold Press. We are the first and only podcast that's dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora, and I am with you each and every episode as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club. Joining me, as he does each and every episode since the beginning, we've got Dylan from County Line Coalition. Dylan, how are you feeling today?
I'm pretty good. You know, it's a nice little anniversary, birthday, whatever you want to call it. It's been a swell year.
It's been an amazing year. Go ahead.
My
Sorry,
life has
Dylan.
noticeably improved since joining this podcast. So, yeah, it has.
And,
been an
honestly,
amazing year.
And honestly, it feels like it's gone so quick. I looked at, I think you were the one that brought it up to me after we recorded last episode, or maybe 2 weeks ago, that was coming, or this was coming up. And I was super excited about that. We also have a guest joining us. Before I get to one of our other regulars, I've got to bring this guest on because this guest was also with us very first episode. She was a big part of our early success as a podcast. She helped us out. She let us utilize her website that she manages to try and spread the word of Orange County Soccer Club. She's always done a great job covering the team back into the Blues days, and that's Alicia from Angels on Parade. Alicia, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me on, and happy birthday to the podcast. I did buy a little cake, and we've got some balloons in the background, and can't wait to take some pictures with this podcast.
Woohoo! Yeah, that'd be amazing. And I forgot one other thing I forgot to put in there for Alicia is she is the reigning guest of the year from the Orange and Black SoccerCast Awards. It was a very close contest between her and John Macaluso, Brad, your friend up there at 1868 Weekly. But Alicia did pull off that victory. She was here. She got to do an acceptance speech with us when she did that. So welcome back. We'll get a few words from you. I know you can't really spend the whole episode with Alicia, so we'll speak with you briefly once I do the final introductions here. Definitely got to introduce someone that's been with us this whole season pretty much, and that's Alan. Alan, how are you feeling?
Great day of soccer. Started pretty early. I didn't catch the first World Cup game, but I've been literally watching and playing soccer all day long. And by playing, I mean on video games, not actually outside.
FIFA 19?
FIFA 19, yeah.
Not PES.
No, FIFA. And I'm not great on it, but whatever.
We need to get a match going, Alan. I know we got to do that. Let's continue our introductions. We've got, I mentioned him just a few moments ago, Brad, from 1868 Weekly, sort of representing the Reno area, and our good buddy John, who couldn't make it on because, like many of us, he has a life outside of podcasting, and unfortunately his schedule didn't allow for him to join, but Brad was able to make it. Brad, welcome back onto our show.
Thanks for having me again. Looking forward to replicating our hair bet later this year.
Ooh, we'll definitely get into talking about that, and we'll let everyone know what's going on with that as well. And last but not least, representing our next opponents and the fans out there in the desert with their hashtag Orange County Hate Week. We've got Kevin from the PRFC fan show. I hope I got that right. I think I'm learning it. We've had you on a few times now. I think I'm getting there.
You're getting there.
Well,
Glad to be here. It's always fun to meet up with you guys. And yeah, we've got a game coming up Saturday, and I'm looking forward to meeting Dylan and Ellen in person and having a good time.
perfect. Yeah, I know those guys are planning on making the trip out there. I would love to make the trip out there, but I work at UC Irvine, and this upcoming weekend is commencement weekend, and I work in student affairs, which basically throws on the commencements, and I'm going to be working all day Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, like 12-hour shifts each of those days. So unfortunately, I couldn't make the ride or commit to going to Phoenix, but we'll get into Phoenix definitely in this show, and we'll have a lot to talk about there. But we got to talk about this last match that happened here with Las Vegas, in Las Vegas. And I'm going to jump right to Alicia because, again, she's been covering this team longer than any of us have been thinking of covering Orange County Soccer Club. Alicia, what were your thoughts on that Vegas match, just sort of in general, and then we can get into some more of the details as we talk a little bit.
Well, I think in context, it was a pretty good result. I mean, obviously, this is a team that's been looking for wins all season. Last season, the wins came so easily, especially on the road. So going out on the road and playing a Vegas team that had yet to lose this year at home, it was a tall test. And then picking up a red card right before the half, I mean, that makes it even tougher, especially when you're already down a goal. But credit to OC for digging in and really grinding out a result. They had a chance to win it late. Unfortunate they didn't, but I think it's one of those situations where if you kind of take the context of the game, playing a man down for half of it and picking up any kind of result at all, I think a road point's pretty decent.
I'd agree with you pretty much. In the context of the way the season's been going, a point on the road is probably a good thing. I think the one reason why maybe Orange County fans are a little bit frustrated with it is just because it's just been so many 1-point matches where really, like you said, even in this match, the very end, there was a really, really, really good opportunity to steal the full 3 points in this match. Dylan, let me jump over to you really quick. Do you agree with Alicia, that, being able to head out of there with 1 point at least is a good thing there? Or is this really just disappointing because of what could have happened there in the final seconds?
It's a good result, all things considered. That red card was just absolutely stupid. Getting the goal called back was absolutely stupid. Just terrible refereeing. All night was stupid. Given the context of what happened, yeah, that's a decent result. But it was a bit of a letdown, and it's not even just because Trotter puts a shot over the bar in the last kick of the game.
Oh, man.
Just kind of a culmination of everything there. Just piss poor refereeing. Irvin Parra, I mean, I don't know how you describe
Emmy Award winner there, right?
Cheating, diving, disrespecting the spirit of the game, whatever you want to call it. Oh, I sound like an old white guy watching baseball. He's like, "Oh, you shouldn't bat flip," but I mean, like faking a headbutt. Come on.
Well, it's like they brought their two heads together like this. You can go onto YouTube and you can search like worst flops or whatever in soccer or even just in life, and you'll see some stuff that is pretty comparable to what we saw there. Alston and Parra like this, and then all of it, they're touching heads, and all of a sudden Parra like acts like he just got like knocked out. Alan,
Yeah,
do you agree with that, Alan?
Yeah, well, he is going to be not in their next game because he went
Or a
on
different thing, but yeah.
Instagram and was like, "We're not getting paid," and they're like, "Yeah, you are," and he's like, "Oops." Yeah, it was frustrating. Like getting into the game, I thought it would be a draw. Like I'd be really happy with the draw, like a 1-1, 2-2. I think that's what I said on the pod last week. Is that I think getting out of Vegas with the draw would be a great thing. But watching that game, Orange County should have won that game, even down a man. I thought they were the better side. I thought there was a couple of chances that they let get by. It was a little bit frustrating. I believe I texted both of you right when Trotter booted it over the bar. Like, how does he not get that on target? Like, how do you just not try to make the goalie make a save? I thought they could have very easily gone out of there with 3 points, which is huge against Vegas. But again, going into the game, I definitely would have walked away with a 1-1 draw. So with all that being said, I was, decently happy. We got what I would hope to have gotten, knowing that we have a really big test next week in Phoenix.
Oh, and we're going to get into that, Alan. It seems like everyone just wants to start getting into that Phoenix stuff. Let me get back to you really quick, Alicia, because I think a lot of people were either on social media or maybe some of the traveling fans out there at the stadium in the extra time going on. I think everyone was like basically yelling at the TV or at the stadium, ref, blow the whistle, ref, blow the whistle, because I think it had gone like 3 minutes past what was initially offered as far as extra time goes. Were you in that situation? Were you basically sitting there saying, "Hey, what's going on? Blow this whistle," or do you think that was fair as far as the amount of time that was going or being added, even on top of the extra time?
No, I mean I'm pretty I don't know. I don't tend to get really riled up about referees, but I did think that the amount of stoppage time was pretty absurd. And I mean, we do have to admit too that Vegas almost got a winner and off of an own goal, and Patrick McLean had to like bail him out, and then Trotter went down to the other end and missed the chance to win it. So really, either team could have won it in stoppage time. But yeah, I mean, it was funny because when I went back and looked at the highlights again, I was like, oh wow, that really was a long time on stoppage time. Like seriously crazy how long it took for the game to end. I don't know where he got the time from, if he doubled, if it was like doubled up from the first half or what the heck happened. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I know Alston was down hurt for a little bit there in extra time, and I saw, if you look at the match, the ref was pointing to his watch a little bit there. So I anticipated maybe an extra minute on stoppage time, but I think it went well beyond an extra minute on top of the stoppage time. Let me ask you really quick, Alicia, because I want to get as much out of you before you have to head out. Does Liam Trotter have to make that goal there at the end? Can we be harsh on him for missing that goal, or is that a really tough goal to take when you know the whistle's about to blow and you've ran pretty much the whole distance across that field?
Well, I'll say as somebody who's not a professional soccer player, I mean, I always kind of feel bad about saying you got to make the shot, you got to get it in, but I've been a little bit disappointed with Trotter's play overall this season. I mean, maybe it's just a matter of he's not playing the role that I expected he was going to be playing, but I haven't really been particularly impressed with him. So I think it's tough because he had this chance to like save the game and really do something pretty special, and he fell flat, and that kind of, reinforces the opinions, you have coming in. I'll say on the other hand, Harry Forrester, I think he's been a really good addition. But I think Trotter, yeah, exactly. I think Trotter by comparison, I think he's been kind of disappointing. And, again, I don't want to be like, he has to make it, because I think that's kind of a cliche, but I do think that that's the situation where, there are moments where you got to make the play, and he just didn't. And, it's tough. I'm not saying everybody's going to make it, but, it's just kind of continuing, I think, the pattern a little bit for him.
Let me go to you really quick. Well, let me ask Brad and Kevin, because you guys have been just sort of sitting there listening to what we've got to say, and I don't know if anyone wants to raise their hand to go first, but did either of you get a chance to watch either the match or even just the highlights of this match against Vegas for Orange County?
Yeah, so I did. This is Kevin. It was because we had OC coming up, so I kind of scanned through the game. It wasn't live. Bottom line is I'm a Phoenix Rising fan. We think Vegas sucks, right?
You and Bradley will get along then.
we don't get along with many people. But the bottom line is you guys did have some real missed chances. I mean, you're there to put the ball in the back of the net, and it just wasn't happening. You guys have a fairly potent offense, so it was surprising not to see them do a little bit better. The officiating was crap. The red card was crap. So it was, I honestly thought you guys would come out with 3 points on that game, but you didn't.
What about you, Brad? Being a Reno fan, I know you guys don't really like Vegas much either. Were you guys rooting for Orange County in this, or were you hoping somehow, some way they'd be able to, a man down, still pull that amazing comeback?
I mean, you guys weren't just a man down. You guys like basically 3-man down, missing your 2 highest scoring players this game. So I didn't really get to watch too much of this game. I did catch the highlights for the most part, and you guys did get gypped in that last minute scenario. I guess for me, I'm a little disappointed that you guys couldn't take out a win, but especially after the form that we left them in, because I remember listening to you guys on your cast last week, that we had, I don't remember what word you used for what we did to them a weekend and a half ago, but for considering how the game was going, being a goal and a man down, I think you guys shouldn't be disappointed with the result that you guys got.
Let me do this because I want to check in with Alicia, because again, I know you have to head out pretty early here, Alicia. Before you even have to sneak out, I want to give you a chance to plug your social media, your website, because that's definitely something we love to do for all of our guests that take time to join us. So go ahead and take care of that, Alicia.
For sure. You can catch my coverage of Orange County SC and LAFC at Angels on Parade. And I'm also on Twitter at Soccer Musings. That's my own Twitter. I do have to get going, but I think the game coming up is going to be pretty cool. The last one was pretty exciting. I don't know, is it going to be Dollar Beer Night? I don't believe it is. So
No, that was last week. That was
yes,
the drubbing of Tulsa.
Right. So we all know the now famous stat that was on ESPN a few weeks back. So that's a good sign for Orange County, but we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to be a great game.
Can we get a quick prediction from you before you go, Alicia?
Well, we know how draw heavy they've been, so I'm going to say something like 2-2.
All right.
We've had 4 wins in a row.
We haven't lost in 7, so that's I think it's a good good matchup there. Although Phoenix seems to be playing a little bit better than us. So Alicia, I want to thank you for taking a little bit of time. Again, you were there on the very first episode. You're the reigning guest of the year. Although I think you might have some competition to bring you on another time or two, so you can try and recapture that and go for back-to-back wins on that. But best of luck to you with your site and your season with LAFC and of course Orange County. And again, thanks for taking some time.
Hey, if I can quick shout out, I've seen Angels on Parade. You do great stuff. I will be sure to say something on Twitter for you, because you do a great job.
Cool. Thanks, guys. I will no longer monopolize the conversation, but I'd be happy to come on again in the future. So happy birthday to the show, and I'll look forward to listening later.
Awesome. Thank you, Alicia. That's Alicia again, Angels on Parade. She was a big part of our show at the beginning. I reached out to her with this crazy idea of, hey, I want to do an Orange County podcast. The club's on board. And she's like, sure, let's get you on. That you can put the links to your episodes on our website. And we did that for a short while. And then we eventually sort of started getting more into the media coverage as far as written stuff. And just sort of felt like, don't want to sort of step on her game. And so it's a great partnership, a great team. We follow her, we read her stuff and vice versa. So that's awesome to hear and awesome to see, and best of luck to her and her site and all that great stuff. Let's get back into this Las Vegas match, and then we'll talk about Phoenix a little bit. Vegas. Let's just talk about it. The refs. Alan, I'll go to you first, because I know you were very frustrated with some of the stuff going on with the refs. And it was funny because for those that don't know, we contribute to the team's website with their pre and post game write-ups. And Alan was covering this match for the website. And I was texting him like, regardless of how much you want to say about these refs, remember, we're writing for the website. He's like, yeah, if I was writing just for our site, there would be a different story there. But, it is what it is. This is our podcast. Be honest about what we think with these refs. What did you think of the refs in this match, Alan?
So again, I want to preface this by, I have several family members who have done professional umpiring and reffing in hockey and baseball. So I'm pretty careful about how mad I get at referees, because I know it is a tough job. But the offside call was just baffling to me.
You're talking about on the Crisostomo?
Yeah, he doesn't even break until after the ball is kicked, and he's lined up at least a step and a half behind the wall. There is absolutely no way he can physically be offside in that instance, and it's deflected off the wall, and maybe the assistant referee is like, "Oh, that counts as being hit," but that's not the case. You know it's bad when the ESPN Plus folks, who are kind of hit and miss, and sometimes are great and sometimes are not, but I think they mentioned that call like 3 or 4 times on the broadcast, and every time I wanted to like just scream in anger. But then I realized like my dogs would run away and my wife would be like, "What's going on?" But so I'd like controlled myself. But there's just no way that you can call that, especially like it was such a beautiful goal too, to get it pulled back, which is so angry. Like,
and it was going to be his first goal, right?
I think so, and I think he's like on my fantasy team.
He is. He would have had 3 points.
I was like doubly mad for myself and for Orange County to get that pulled back in such a way that was just. There's just no way he's offside in that situation. Like Isaac Pruder filmed that one again, and tweeted it out. There's just zero way. Like, I just can't. It's just bad. I don't have words.
I mean, it happens every week, so we should expect at least a call like this every week at this point, right?
Well, I understand, like in the Open Cup, maybe you're dealing with some younger refs who are, greener and are still trying to like figure their lives out. Because it's like, let's be real, we're not dealing with the best referees because the best referees aren't reffing USL. So I'm usually kind of give them the benefit of the doubt sometimes, but like they were calling them out, like they can't keep up with the back line, they can't keep up the pace of the game. Like they were just calling them out how bad they were. And when that's happening, it's pretty bad because usually the people who are talking about it aren't pointing that out. And I do love Kevin's IKEA thing in the back. That's great.
What does he have back there?
It's like a little bookshelf thing with a little
come on,
baskets.
That's Bed Bath and Beyond, man. Come on.
Really?
That totally looks like IKEA because I have one.
No, the other stuff is IKEA.
I have one that's just 4 of them, and we have wicker baskets to put our shoes
right,
on.
Right. I got that too in the bedroom, so don't worry. I'm not calling it out because I don't like it.
IKEA's awesome. No. I don't know why you're hating on IKEA there, Kevin.
Me?
No, Kevin? I'm not hating on it at all. I'm just saying it is Bed Bath and Beyond. It just
my fault. I thought I knew some furniture apparently, but no. I mean,
the PRS Fan Show brought to you by Bed Bath and Beyond, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
It was just bad. It was just bad.
Can I throw something in there for you in defense of Orange County, which I'm going to get railed on for doing it, but
we're tweeting this out.
Get your keyboard ready, Alan.
So, I had to laugh because I did see that highlight, and that was I think it was a Forrester through ball or something where the offsides was called. I was just trying to look up the play-by-play, but I don't know why my computer's not bringing it up. But what was funny to me is that the referee was Dejan Susak. He's ref for us a couple of times. The last time was at RGV, and I've always found him to be a fairly even-keeled, decent referee. And then this is the problem that I see with pro ref in general, the inconsistency. All of a sudden he comes in and really doesn't call a game well at all. And it's like this weird roller coaster. It's like even when you have good experiences with a certain ref like Dejan, all of a sudden they come in and they shit the bed. And it's like, we just want consistency. Can we get consistency? We're not getting it at all.
The only consistency we're getting with refs is the fact that I lose my freaking mind every week. I usually lose my voice yelling at the refs. There's plenty of ref abuse in this game from yours truly. But I think...
And you were there, so I mean, I think I heard you on the stream too, Dylan. Because your voice is very recognizable.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but let's just say there's pretty good odds that was the case. It was one of those... It's just the worst. I was so fed up with it, especially like the last month, that when they were walking off the field, I told them to enjoy their vacation next week because there's no way in hell that they're going to get to ref anything after a performance like that. And one of the ARs just nodded at me and was like, "You are included in that."
Yeah, it was pretty horrible. I think, and I guess you could say it was horrible sort of in both directions because there were some weird things that happened on the Phoenix side, but I think there was a lot more that went towards Orange County. I mean, that Joe Amico straight red card sort of was very painful there. the way it happened. Again, another one of Alan's fantasy that hurt him this week, or he might have actually been able to dethrone me, the king of Orange County Soccer Club fantasy soccer, for playing for Pride Week. We got to shorten that name somehow. I want to know. I wish the league would give us a transcript of what the conversation was between the side judge and the ref on that, and how they decided to go to a red card. I know if you look at the replay, Amico did do a little shove before the whole acting incident there, but does a shove go to a straight red card? I don't think so. So ultimately it has to be the headbutt is why the red card, an instant red card, was given. I want to go to Brett. I haven't heard him for a while, and he's just sitting there just probably playing some FIFA on his computer on his second screen, apparently, that he has there. Brad, did you I don't know if on the highlights, if they showed, by the highlights that we did show on our YouTube stream, those were courtesy of USL Championship Productions. I have to get that out there so I don't get in trouble for using their highlights. Brad, did you get to see the highlights, and did they show that incident in the highlights? Or if not, did you hear about it, see anything on it? And do you have any thoughts on how that all went down?
I didn't really get to see too much, or maybe it's just they showed it and I don't remember it. This was like a couple days ago.
Okay.
So I can't really make a comment on that.
Okay, no problem.
Kevin, I'm
what
looking at the highlights right now, and what's funny is they don't show the foul, the violent conduct, because I finally got the page up for the match, and the red card is noted as violent conduct, and they don't show it. All they show is the ref pulling, the assistant talking to the ref, and then the ref pulling out the red card.
So I'll do my best. And by the way, Dylan, Alan, if I get something wrong on here, let me know. But here's basically what happened: is something happened basically at the midfield. Amico and is it Irvin Para is the name, I believe, get into some sort of altercation. I do see from what I saw, Joe Amico like did a little shove to him, like in the chest. They get face to face, and then they get head to head, and they're like that, basically like this for like a second. Then all of a sudden, Para just like falls back, like he just got like hit by, like, I think on Twitter, I was managing the podcast Twitter account that evening of the match, and I said basically Para acted like he just got knocked out by Mike Tyson, when it was basically just they basically did like what fake tough guys do, is get head to head and just start jabbering at each other. But for whatever reason, I don't know if Amico just is like the big bad wolf in those old fairy tales, and he just blew on Parr, and Parr just got knocked out or whatever. And then I don't think the head ref saw it, so he went over and spoke to the side judge. They talked for like 30 seconds or whatever, and then all of a sudden he comes out and gives Joe Amico the red card. I guess you could say Parra, played the ref there, and he did what he could to take advantage of the situation, but I'm not a fan of that type of stuff.
Well, yeah, but you can't be a fan of people going head to head either. I mean, come on, you're playing footy. You know what the rules are. Don't get in an argument where you get forehead to forehead. Somebody's going to flop. Somebody's going to get thrown out, and it's a tactical movement by a player. I mean, it's just so dumb for players to get that much physical contact. They're going to be shoves. They're going to be, elbows. There's going to be all that kind of stuff. But everybody knows if you start making head contact, you're going to get a red card if somebody plays it. It's going to happen.
I guess the youth of Joe Amico in that situation didn't play to his advantage there. Alan, did you have something to throw into that?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I think it's like that KG veteran who slows down when he gets in the box, and then he knows the defender's behind him, so he slows down just a touch to get that contact to get a pentalty. I just think it's
like what Harry Forster tries to do,
right? And he got one, and it's when it happens.
Wait! Is Orange County admitting that they flop sometimes? That they dive?
Don't go there, Kevin. Do not go there, Kevin.
It's not a dive.
Kevin.
It's not a dive if there's contact. You're just creating that contact. It's like the what's that basketball player? James Harden. It's the James Harden approach to basketball.
It's like 5 steps that are not a travel.
True. You know the rules of the game, so you manipulate the rules of the game for your favorites, the dark arts. It's what the KG veterans do. We don't see it too often in the USL because they're the young guys.
It's a chess
most
match.
of the time who don't play that way because they don't know, or they are just not as versed as, someone like maybe Harry Forrester, who knows that contact's going to come. So he stops running. Or it's like the hockey player who pretends like he's skating really fast for the icing just to get the icing call. There's just things that players know how to kind of manipulate the rules to stay within the rules of the game. And if you're going to get a young guy to go head to head with you, all you have to do is get him to go head to head, and then you drop, and you can, like, worst case scenario is, you get a yellow card. In this case, you get a red card. I don't disagree with what Kevin has to say. I think it's slightly dark arts thing, but if you avoid those situations and you don't let the other team goad you into being in a position where you're going to get a red card, you can avoid those red cards pretty easily. I do think it was definitely not deserving, but I don't disagree with Kevin. Like, you just don't put yourself into that situation to get into that kind of trouble. It's what I talk to my middle school kids about. Like, just don't put yourself in a position to get in trouble, and you won't get in trouble.
Let me ask you, Brad. I'm just going to ask for an outsider opinion.
I have seen the contact in debate now.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, it kind of reminds me of an incident last season where in the corner flag, I remember it made the #1 spot of the week for the ESPN's Not Top 10. Antoine Hopino and a Tulsa player are like talking, jabbing back and forth. They go head to head, and both of them flop down. Except this time it's just a Vegas player, Para, that goes down. And yeah, it's gonna be, I think,
you could say it sucks.
It's theatrics, and I think Orange County, if they are going to go back and say, go back to the league and say, hey, appeal, that's the word I'm looking for. Hey, we're going to appeal it. If they appeal it, I think they're going to get it reversed if they haven't already done so.
I don't know if they haven't. I haven't heard anything, and I don't know. Maybe it's just I've been now following the scene for a couple of years now here, or whatever, and I don't know if that'll even happen. Dylan, I'll go to you. You've been following Orange County longer than me. Do you see Orange County possibly appealing that call?
Well, I mean, I'm a couple steps ahead of you. I talked to both our GM and our head coach immediately after the game, and I asked, "Are you going to appeal?" And they basically said, "If we get to see it." They echoed what you guys have said, but basically, you don't put yourself in that situation. You don't let Parr get into your head, because he's not a good player. So he just tries to deceive officials to get ahead, and Joe played right into it, and it was stupid. They said if it looked like they could get it reversed, then they were going to go after it, but I haven't heard anything.
And we probably won't hear anything. The club doesn't really usually announce much of that stuff.
No, I would imagine, though, it should be
find out on
reversed
Friday in the disciplinary report, which means, and if that gets reversed, Para should absolutely get probably a 2-match ban, because that's usually the going rate for deceiving of officials. And he's already serving a match ban for his antics on Instagram, where he's complaining that he's not
I was
getting
about
paid,
to bring that up.
I mean, he's a real stand-up guy, falling over and complaining that he's not getting paid.
Calling out his team. That's a whole different topic, and I'm sure we could probably discuss that for an hour. The whole antics of the financial stuff going on with USL and some of these clubs. I know in the past this has happened with some clubs where players complain about not getting paid. Parr went, retracted it, or at least issued an apology for what he said. But usually what's that saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. So if you have a player sort of saying something like this, it may be happening. He just probably shouldn't have said it because you're under contract. But I guess if you're not getting paid, that's breach of contract. That's a whole crazy different thing.
The league said that there have been no complaints from players, and you should probably go to compliance.
They should stop paying the llamas.
You're not getting paid.
I mean, other teams other than Vegas, I might put some, credence to it, but Vegas, they're dripping in money. That's not.
Yeah, they drop it from the sky.
They have so much money
they do. They just give it out to their fans.
Wait, I got to ask this. And Brad, have you been to a Vegas match in Vegas?
I have not been to any sporting event down in Vegas other than UNLV Nevada games.
How about you, Kevin?
Yeah, I've been to a couple matches in Vegas.
So you and Dylan have been to Vegas to watch a match there. What's up with this annoyingly loud PA dude that is so loud you hear him over the announcers on the ESPN Plus stream?
It's a Vegas thing.
It's
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
annoying, and it's
It is
and it's
annoying.
it's what it is it's degrading the sport. You got to watch our USL USL no takes with PRC Fan Show, because I do a whole rant about farm animals and hype men and bubble baths and all that kind of stuff. It's all bullshit. Sorry, but that's what it is, man. This is a sport. It's not a carnival. Treat it like a sport. Go out, take care of your business, end the game, move on.
And then isn't it yeah, they had like 10 pools along the sidelines. I have no idea what those pools were for.
Well, they're adding kiddie pools to the sidelines.
That's their summer improvement. And okay, that's actually awesome, because when it's 100 degrees,
You're not allowed to unless you want to be some
people
weird
inside of the
creeper
game.
who's going to get
And
arrested.
just-
It's all for kids.
Dylan, you try and get down there, Dylan.
Yeah. I just want to make sure I've got my camera, okay?
I don't want to dwell too much because we're already like technically like what 75% through what we'd like to do for an episode, but we still got Phoenix to talk about. So let's wrap up this Phoenix stuff. This Vegas stuff. One last thing I want to complain about, and then we can let you guys get one last thought here too, is what happened or what was going on with the camera work for that match. I feel like the cameraman had gone out and partied in Vegas the night before, because there was, I could probably say there was at least like 5, 6, 7, 8 times where the ball was like off screen and the camera's just sort of pointing at some random player. And either the camera guy or whoever's running the production for ESPN Plus was just asleep at the wheel. Dylan, you were at the match, so you didn't really notice or see any of that, but I'm sure Alan, watching on the ESPN Plus stream trying to cover the match, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about there. And it got frustrating after, the second or third time. But when you get to like 5, 6, 7, 8 times where that's happening, that's unacceptable.
It's something I noticed too about the Open Cup. And to be excusable, the Open Cup, you have stadiums that aren't used to being televised. So there's some terrible angles, like the St. Louis, who they play Chicago game. There was some frustration with that, with trying to get the right angles. Talking to the guys at Orange County, I know the people who control a lot of that stuff are like off-site. A lot of the producers are like in Tampa. So there's always a few issues with the right camera angles. But you figure if that's your home stadium, you got to figure out the best place to put a camera to get the best angles.
So you don't have the sun in the fans' eyes for the first like 5 minutes of the match.
There was a couple games like that. It was just like, I think the New Mexico United game was like half of the field was unwatchable.
That way. It was ridiculous.
Like, I get that. I mean, with Orange County going to some like 5 o'clock games, like put your camera on the side that isn't facing the sun.
They do that. That's Orange County has their camera on the right side of the field.
You know what I mean? Like even if you have to flip the main camera, like you're not controlling that from the site. So put the camera in the place where it's not staring right at the sun. Maybe just a thought. I mean, I get that there's going to be some terrible camera angles and such when you're dealing with like a baseball stadium versus an actual soccer stadium. But you think this is the second year in the league. You think that this is like a brand new facility. You think they would have some of these camera angles and things figured out. Yeah, it's just frustrating when you're trying to watch a game and you're just staring at some dude standing around a field instead of watching the ball.
I had to put the highlights back on there. I had to put the highlights back on there really quick just to show what we're talking about. Go for it, Brad.
I mean, speak for yourself. Reno, we have it on the right side of our diamond for our stadium, I don't think it's that hard, or even better, invest in multiple cameras.
Yeah.
Well, the teams don't have much control over that.
True.
And that's where the problem is. It goes from stadium to stadium. Actually, the Reno games look really good. I totally agree. But if you watch a Sacramento game, there was one other game, and I can't remember what it was for the life of me. But man, the sunlight for like the first 8 or 9 minutes of the game, it was just glaring into the lens. They didn't have any kind of lens shade on the camera at all. And the game was unwatchable. It's like, and they pull in way too often and for too long. And it's like, well, you give me the wide view. I don't want to see this guy dribbling because we don't know what's going on in context around him.
Yeah, you're like me. I like to see what the other players are doing and where their positioning is, and that actually is one of my favorite parts of watching soccer. And that's why I love when you watch something maybe in a better set up stadium where you can actually see the whole field and you can see where players are moving and lining up and not just focusing on the guy with the ball. And again, in this instance with this match, I mean, there was so many opportunities. There were shots where you didn't get to see the shot because the camera was not pointed at the player taking the shot. The camera was pointed at some other random dude, and so you're missing something that's important in the match. You're missing a shot. So of course Dylan at the stadium got to see those shots, but someone like Alan and myself and probably Kevin and Brad, you know, if you guys are watching the match on ESPN, you're missing out on quality action. And it's hard, you know, Alan's sitting here trying to cover the match from his couch and not at the stadium. And ESPN's not providing the view that you need to see what exactly happened on that. So now it's like, okay, I have to make things up or I have to guess what happened or something like that, which is just ridiculous. Let's get past this. It's Vegas. Does anyone have any last thoughts on the OC Vegas match or just Vegas in general? And I'm just hoping that because Kevin and Brad, I know you guys hate Vegas.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm feeling like I'm on my own little podcast right now, the 1868 Weekly, because we spend days talking about them.
Shout out to
I love sarcasm
for being a wonderful. They were great. They gave us Jello shots before the game.
Who gave you Jello shots?
To the Light Company. They're one of their supporters groups.
Okay,
they're pretty cool.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I
thought that just came standard with every ticket.
At Vegas, yeah, all right.
In that place, you need it. I mean, they should be given out, but no.
Let me ask you, Dylan, because I don't think it was. Oh, I don't know if I can't remember on the screen, or maybe it was on the stream. When they scored that second goal that got called offside, did they do all the antics with the confetti and all that fun stuff, and realize they just wasted a bucket load of confetti and smoke and whatever? Or were you too upset with the whole scenario to even?
No, I was like, realize? I wasn't looking towards their group. We're sitting in the opposite corner, but just by the goal of that Orange County was defending in the second half, so I was busy like yelling at the ref because it was so obviously offside. To notice if they had set anything off. Judging by the lack of anything in the air afterwards, they probably didn't set off any smoke bombs.
Can I say one last thing about the match? Props to the members of Counterline Coalition that made the trip out to Vegas. You were definitely heard on the stream. Numerous people were on social media saying we can hear Counterline Coalition chanting out there. I know from time to time the Vegas groups were drowning you guys out because they had their drums and all that stuff. But for what you guys had and the small amount of people that you guys had that made the trip out there, you guys were definitely loud enough where we could hear you. So props to you and everyone else that made the trip out there. It's amazing to be able to hear the visiting fans at the Away Stadium like that. So awesome job, you guys.
You know what? For the record, I'm gonna say that that drummer couldn't keep a beat if he had to with Vegas, and that trumpet player sounds like a cow dying. It's horrible, man. It's just bad.
They need better music education out there in Vegas.
Yep.
So without any audio, Brad's reaction to that comment was just the best reaction. If you are not watching the YouTube stream, you are missing out because Brad just like if he would have been drinking a beer or a glass of milk, that would have been coming straight out of his nose in that moment because he totally loved what Kevin had to say.
The trumpet sounds like a cow. I can't. It just brings me to your Austin Bold comments.
Hey, what's wrong with farm animals at a soccer stadium?
Everything.
How long is your podcast?
Well, let's get it. Well, hey, this is our extra special 1 year anniversary, so it seems like it's going longer than normal. So let's move on. We got to talk about Phoenix. That's the whole reason Kevin's on here. Brad can just jump on as an outsider, and he can just enjoy this banter back and forth. Orange County will be traveling out to Phoenix. Alan and Dylan will be making their way out there to watch the match, support the team, cover the game. And I'm sure the Phoenix fans are going to be getting excited for this match throughout the week. I don't know if the hashtag Orange County Hate Week is trending yet or not, but usually at some point, it's like, at least in the top 50 in the trending for Twitter. Let me go to Kevin. What's going on with Phoenix? I know you guys have been on fire lately. You guys are now at the top of the power rankings for the USL Championship. By the way, Alan will be releasing his thoughts on the power rankings tomorrow morning. So check that out on our website. But Kevin, what's going on with Phoenix, and how are you feeling heading into this match?
We've taken some time to get warmed up, just like we did last season. But what is starting to develop with the team is even better than what we had with last season. And I'm really trying to keep this at a fairly stable level. I don't want to sound like a fanboy of the team. I mean, I'm a fan, but I don't want to sound unreasonable.
But you're not a
But
boy.
the bottom line, if you look at the quality of the game that we played against Tulsa the other day, and you look at the quality of the two games before Tulsa, bottom line is we've got a very, very potent team. I would say, a lot of people are going to push against this, but I'd say that our front three are the most potent front three in the USL right now. East Coast, West Conference, doesn't matter. They are potent. Our defensive backs have come together. We've got hookups with the midfielders. We are very hot right now. Every season you have a roller coaster ride, but right now we are very hot. If I were OC, I would not want to be going into the desert this weekend to play against them.
All right, cool.
I mean, it's like 3 billion degrees in Phoenix. Why would anyone ever?
Just 104.
And we thought it was hot out here, like 90 something yesterday.
Yeah, I'm done.
Dylan, can you remind Kevin of what happened the last time Orange County traveled out to Phoenix?
Is this my job? You're the one that's always getting involved with the trash talking.
Hey, I got to get you into this, man. Okay, Alan, can you remind Kevin what happened the last time Orange County went out to Phoenix because Dylan's scared?
I'm guessing they won.
They did win. They won 4-3. But if we talk about it, and even if you ask Braden Cloutier about this, we handily controlled that match, and then in the last 20 minutes, we're like, you know what? Let's make this interesting. And then Solomon Atanche had a shot in the 94th minute that was maybe 12 inches from going in. And yeah, it was a heart attack up there for the last 20 minutes.
It was heartbreaking. That's what it was.
Yes, Phoenix has won 4 games in a row. Their last loss was in Orange County without Flemings and Asante. They're going to be missing Flemings. But they'll be missing
Flemings and Lambert. They're both playing for the Jamaican international team.
Yeah, they've scored an average of right, and Seton. They've averaged 4 goals a game the last 4 goals. I believe I tweeted out my wife wanted to watch Chernobyl after the game was over, and I said no. I have already seen one disaster TV show today. And that was Phoenix destroying Tulsa. Tulsa's not doing too hot right now. But
you were scared. You were scared when I saw you on social media. You were scared with what Phoenix was doing to Tulsa. Now we're heading into Phoenix. That put some fear into you, right, Alan?
If I was like a neutral, Phoenix is playing some beautiful soccer right now. Like, that Adam John goal, I went and voted for goal of the week 40 times for him because that was amazing. Just the pass halfway across the field just to take it off of his shin over the goalie. I was blown away. That's just an amazing goal, and I got to give respect. And hopefully he wins so he doesn't have to win this week. So it's a little bit selfish. They're just playing so good right now. I do think not having Flemings on the field makes him a little bit less potent. I think that not having him does take away that best 3 that you're talking about.
It does.
Yeah. And so it gives me a little bit of hope that Orange County can hopefully play the defense. Oh, Jesus. Oh, sorry. Sacramento scored.
Where's the moo?
It's 4-3 San Jose. It does give me a little bit of pause because Phoenix is playing so well and Orange County has struggled on the road. But the way they played Phoenix last time was really defense oriented. It was stop the break, stop the counterattack, and there was almost always somebody back. And without Seton in the game, I think that's going to be even more of a focus of fight for a draw, play defense like crazy, which we know they can. I mean, they were down 2 men and didn't let a goal in. So I think there's a chance Just the way that Phoenix is playing right now, they just look like one of the best teams in the USL easily. Kevin said it, West or East. They have 2 games in hand on New Mexico United, so they can very easily jump and be in first place in a blink of an eye. It's been like night and day from the team we saw in Orange County. So I'm a little bit nervous, a little bit worried. I am excited to go out to Phoenix and watch them play at home. It seems like they have a really good supporter group. It's going to be way too hot for me from coming from San Diego. It'll be like at least 30 degrees warmer than I'm used to. But I'm pretty excited. I think it'll be a really, really good game. Orange County, I think, will be up for it. Phoenix has been playing really, really well. So it should be a good one. But like I said, Phoenix is looking really, really, really good right now.
Kevin, I got to ask you, who's the goalie that basically got gypped because they're not one of the nominees for Save of the Week in the USL?
So that's Zach Lubin.
What? I mean, I guess you don't have any control of it, but in your mind or in your thoughts, why is his save not up for Save of the Week? Or can you even come up with a thought on that?
Somebody screwed up at the USL. I mean, really, that's all I can think of. Honestly, these of the week awards annoy me to no end. I mean, I've been, as Alan knows, I've been ballyhooing getting the player or the goal of the month or the goal of the week for Adam John, because I just think we deserve it. And anybody else getting that award this week when that play clearly was, by far the best play of the week. And that's taking all my Phoenix bias out of it. Just as a footy fan watching that play, we're talking about a 40-meter pass from our side of the field all the way down to him, and then him just looping that thing over the keeper, first touch and into the net. It's ridiculous. It's insane. So Lubin had an outstanding save against Tulsa. To be fair, the Tulsa keeper had a similar save against us also. They were both outstretched hands. It was a finger save. Both did a really good job. But the problem is that you get, these New Mexico guys, if they're ever on the list, the hordes of New Mexico, they're the new FCC, right? They're just so annoying. And they just bulldoze over everything because they're an avalanche. It's like all they do is have kids so that they can vote. It's crazy.
There's nothing else to do in Albuquerque.
Yeah, pretty much. So,
hey, you can eat some green chili and some red chili at McDonald's if you want, Alan.
I could do that in Denver. It's way cooler.
And some quality queso.
Well, let me just say this though, Kevin, right? Phoenix fans don't quite like me. Let's just be honest with it, right? I've riled them out a few times. I know Dylan even said it a little bit earlier. Why are you letting me do it? You're the one that likes to get on the Phoenix fans' nerves. I'm the one that was on Twitter for the Orange and Black SoccerCast Twitter account saying we think that should have been a nominee for the Save of the Week. That says something when it's me saying that, because I'm probably one of the biggest Phoenix haters when it comes to just banter back and forth. I love, I really truly love the Phoenix fans and the commitment and the faith that they have in the team and the love they have for their team. But I'm also a sports fan. I love this whole banter back and forth. I love to be the villain for you Phoenix fans when it comes to all this stuff. And the fact that I'm sitting here saying that should have been one of the nominees over one of the other 5 goals, that should say something. Brad, I don't know. Have you looked at what the nominees are for Save of the Week? I want to make sure you're paying attention, Brad.
Yeah, I know I am. I have them up right now. One of them is the Matt Cardone save that he kept Danny Muzovsky out of the net, which was, I see it's right now leading. I don't quite understand, because he kind of just put his face on our player's foot and kept the ball out of the goal accordingly.
Yeah, it's unremarkable.
Yeah, no.
Well, the thing about the Lubin goal is it snuck through 2 Phoenix defenders. So that right there makes that save so difficult, because as a goalie, you're waiting to see if it's going to bounce off someone before you commit to something. And so you're having to make a last minute reaction to dive because it doesn't bounce off one of your teammates. Sorry to cut you off there, Brad.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Yeah, the goal, the save you're talking about isn't even nominated there, right?
No, it's not. And that's what
Nope.
that's what is frustrating on this. And I think Kevin sort of said like it's a joke when you look at some of these of the weak things that the USL does. And I think us as a podcast, we've sort of gotten on the league for their power rankings and a bunch of other stuff. It just seems like it's like you don't really watch everything. You just sort of, okay, once you find 5 saves that look great, you're going to stop looking at everything else. Whereas this one, I think there's like a penalty kick save that, yes, it's amazing that you stop a penalty kick, but it wasn't the greatest shot in the world. I think the save by Lubin is 10 times better than what that one is. So go for it, Brad.
Yeah, no, I got nothing else to say. I, I said it in our little chat that we have going on beside the actual thing. I call it the pooer rankings. We belovingly call it the pooer rankings because we don't quite understand or agree. Like at the beginning of the season when Phoenix was still ranked top 10 after 4 straight draws, against some questionable teams. I mean, don't get me wrong.
No,
I was
don't disagree with
defending
you,
more
man.
than anybody. Yeah, I was defending from us more than anybody, but I don't understand kind of where the league is when it comes to how they rank things. I mean, sometimes I guess they just, take a little Keno machine, the Renoite and me, and they just kind of draw. But it's kind of like the lottery for those of you guys who don't know, kind of just chooses a ball and then they're like, okay. And then they choose 19 more of those balls. And if you, I don't know. That's how they rank.
I think
they
that's
take
why
a logo.
That's why Dylan doesn't participate in the our website. We do a sort of review or our thoughts on what the power rankings are. Alan has sort of taken that over. I sort of just threw that and said, "Hey, Alan, that's your thing now." Dylan stopped responding to when I would ask him for it, or he just stopped sending them.
Week, and then
Well,
I had a paper and didn't get around to it until after you published it, and I was just like, "Yeah, I'll do it next week." And then no email came.
Well, because Alan just started sending them, so I'm like, okay, this is Alan's thing now. He gets credit for this. He's going to be the one that rolls with this. But I remember you, Dylan. You started talking about it on our podcast that it was frustrating, just what the results were of those power rankings. You're like, I don't get it. It's stupid. It's frustrating. Makes no sense. I mean, yeah. So I think I even got you there. I think I just sort of made Alan, hey, Alan, you're doing the power rankings thing now. And he's like, okay, I'll do it. And he does a pretty good job of it. And again, look for it tomorrow. But yeah, that's we got so off topic from a Phoenix match talking about what we went to talking about goal, a goal or a save of the week that should have been there that isn't there. And we started talking about power rankings.
I'm just hoping to get it all out of their system. Save of the week, goal of the week. Let's just get out of the system so we can not worry about that next week.
Well, it sort of scares me because, yeah, I'm glad it's not dollar beer night at the stadium there, Kevin. Your club messed up the scheduling there. They should have done it for Orange County, because
we just didn't think we needed it for you guys, so we just said,
yeah. Well, I really recognize Reno's the better opponent. I think later in the season we play dollar beer night.
Oh, so you already chalked it up for a loss then, right?
No.
Let me say this, and I know, Kevin, this doesn't impact you one bit, but for anyone that's listening that maybe is a Phoenix fan that follows the Rising as One podcast, we do have a bet with those guys. The bet was whichever team wins the season series gets to take over the other club's podcast, and I think Orange County won the last match. So Kevin, your team needs to win for the Rising as One pod to be saved from a takeover by me, Dylan, and Alan. And we'll bring in all the Orange County fans we can think of, anyone that's willing to join us. I'm so hoping at least a draw on the road, if not a win. And I know Michael Seaton's not going to be there because of yellow card accumulation, but I think that actually is a silver lining because Vinicius will probably get the start over that. And that dude is freaking.
They know.
He's the Tasmanian devil out there on the pitch.
When he appeared against them in May.
I mean, that guy's awesome. I like him more as a energy off the bench, but hey, a spot start, not bad. If you're going to lose Michael Seaton, bringing him in is not a big loss. You're going to get Aiden Quinn back, who is probably upset that he sat out the last match. You're going to get Darwin Jones back, who's upset that he had to sit out the last match. Yeah, you lose Joe Amico, but you still have Wasa Ansa Contour and Kevin Alston, so you're pretty solid there in your defensive backs.
Yep.
And you got my 6th round draft pick for my fantasy team, Harry Forrester, back here, who's been actually pretty good over the last. Hopefully, he can continue that.
You get a fat head of him, but he's your 6th round pick, and then you're like, hey, we got a fat head of him behind me.
Yeah, it's just I printed it out and put it up there, but I eventually want to get a bunch of players back here, but it actually took me like 20 minutes to put that together to put it up there. So
just print out my face. That's all I name everyone.
Jeez.
It'll be like I'm on the.
You don't even want to put your face on the camera for our podcast. You want me to put your face up here on our orange backdrop here. By the way, decorations. Woohoo for the celebration. Let's get into the Kevin, do you have any questions for us about Orange County?
No, I think the best news for you guys. Well, let me ask you. I'll put it in form of a question. Do you think the best news for you all right now is that you get Aiden Quinn back?
In my mind, I think the bigger benefit is Darwin Jones back because he's been more dangerous this season than Aiden Quinn's been. I love Aiden Quinn as a player. He's awesome. He did great for us last season. He's a solid midfielder, but I think there's just been something missing there with him this season where Darwin Jones has just been pretty good. I know maybe as of late, he hasn't been as strong as he was earlier on in the season, but I feel like he's more of a threat out there, and he's something that was missing in the Vegas match where if we would have had him out there, there would have been an opportunity for maybe another goal. Let's just say this. Both of them coming back is going to be awesome for Orange County. Any day I will trade Joe Amico for Aiden Quinn and Darwin Jones. And even throw in there like the Michael Seaton Vinicius thing. I think it's not a very big drop off when you're bringing in a young, wild, crazy, energetic Brazilian out there to try and score some goals. Dylan Allen, what are your thoughts, or what is your response to the question?
I think Aiden's the bigger loss. He'll be the bigger gain to get back. I'll just leave it at that. The dude runs the midfield. He controls games. I've compared him to Andrea Pirlo like 5 times on this show, and I still stand by that because when he's on the pitch and he's playing in his natural spot, the entirety of the game gets dictated around what he's doing.
Yeah, just imagine.
You only say that because he's on your fantasy team, Dylan.
Why do you pick him first? He's the best player in the league.
Just imagine him instead of Liam Trotter there at the end of the game against Vegas. I think that's
left foot, far post.
Yeah, putting on his left foot. I do think that Aiden Quinn allows Trotter to be a little bit better in what his role is. I think Trotter had to step into a more of an Aiden Quinney role. I think that it's one more person to put some passes in that allows Forrester to be a little more successful as well. He's kind of pulled back a little bit into the midfield as opposed to a winger. So I think having Aiden Quinn back and Darwin Jones opens up the front end. I think Aiden Quinn opens up the midfield in a way that I think we could have benefited from against Vegas. But yeah, I think we're gonna have to score some goals. So I do think I don't disagree with Ray's shout about DJ coming back. We're gonna have to score some goals against Phoenix. Phoenix is gonna put in a couple. So I think we need to be able to answer. I think stopping Phoenix. Yeah, I know, Ray. I think stopping Phoenix at home. I don't think we're gonna get a clean sheet.
Yes. Patrick McLean is gonna get a clean sheet and thus cement my victory in the fantasy soccer.
If there's one thing I've known about Orange County is clean sheets on the road are few and far between.
Oh, I was so mad
against Phoenix don't happen.
I was so mad in the Vegas match that Patrick McLean basically gave up 2 shots, the near post. Oh my gosh, that's like goalkeeper 101 is do not give up the inside of the near post. And luckily one of those was an offside call.
Maybe it should start Cervantes.
Oh, man. Nope, don't start him.
I'm surprised you guys don't bring up what's his name? Van Ewich? Van Ewich?
No.
Van Wolfgang.
It's fun. No, it's Van Ewich.
Or if
no,
it's
Vegas, Von Wolfgang. That's now his name is Von Wolfgang. I know it used to be Van Ivich or whatever you want to say, Brad. But
Even after he got married last year, he only changed his name on his jersey. Everybody else still referred to him as
and they still
his
do,
name
which is
prior.
so annoying in this league. I think any match that's been, I think like 50% of the matches they've gotten it wrong, but it is now officially Von Wolfgang. You can look it up on our website. That's what it is.
That's funny.
What were you going to say though, Kevin?
Well, I just think he's a great midfielder, and I don't hear a lot of talk around him. I mean, I hear a lot about Forster and Trotter, which, justifiably so, but I always thought that I guess Von Wolfgang was a quality midfielder too, who could lead your side. I mean, he's not an Aiden Quinn. The reason why I think Quinn is so dangerous outside of his attacking ability is because the clear leadership he brings and the direction that he brings on the pitch. I don't know. I just like Von Wolfgang a lot. When he played against Phoenix a couple times and had some good outings against us, so I always look at him as a threat.
I think for Orange County fans, he's still trying to find his way onto this roster. I mean, he's had a couple good opportunities or good decent matches, but I don't think we've seen the best out of him yet this season, which has been, I guess, a little frustrating. But there's a reason I picked him on my fantasy team is I believe in him. I think he can do it. So hopefully maybe you're bringing some good luck to him this week. Both you, Kevin, and you, Brad, are going to bring some good luck to this guy by trying to like force the old name onto him. Maybe that's what he needs, is to go back to his old name to be a little bit more.
I'm not trying to wish him good luck at all. We need you guys to lose this game, And here's a question for you guys. I mean, everybody focuses on our attackers, but we're going to have Aguanaga, Baquero, and Musa playing in the midfield. I mean, certainly you guys must feel like that's a huge threat to you also. I mean, you saw what Musa did to Adam John this past week. It was ridiculous. Baquero, a huge threat. He scores. Aguanaga, great passer, great orchestrator in the midfield. Do you guys feel like our midfield is a threat?
I think Baquero is the big one. You can't replicate that pass from Musa to John every week. It's not going to come off. Musa is absolutely maybe the odd one out there. I think you really have to really look at what John Baquero does and look at it like an Aiden Quinn kind of thing, where he makes the team and the guys around him better, and it is noticeable. I forget what the stat was that I saw a few days ago, but it was something about John Baquero and how much better Phoenix is when he plays.
Yeah.
And how much better they are with him in the lineup. And so when he's in the lineup, you have to mark him. You can't let him get any sort of a tempo going. You really have to shut that down as early as possible and as deep as possible on the pitch as well, just to shut that off and really, I think, nullify what is making Phoenix so good this year is being able to play in possession. And yeah, it takes time. And I think John Baquero is a huge part of that, where he knows how to play in that and he knows how to get the best out of the people around him in that situation too. So if we can stop that, they'll have to resort to Musa trying those passes to Adam John. And no disrespect to either of those guys, but come on. If you could make that pass and make that shot 5 out of 10 times, you'd probably be playing in the MLS.
Yeah, no. I think that's a fair take. I do see more out of Musa than just that. Musa's a great defender. We just seem to have a great mixture of talent in the midfield. It's a big hole on the left side, like you're talking about, with Fleming's gone and JJ Johnson injured. It's going to be interesting. I keep going through permutations in my mind of how we're going to adjust our formation to make up for that. And I think a key factor of that is how we're going to handle midfield assignments.
I think a big thing in this conversation too is Christian Duke out. I think Orange County, if we had Christian Duke in the midfield, it would be a lot more of a stable midfield with him and Aiden Quinn. And then, I don't know, it would help neutralize all that, I guess. Alan, what are your thoughts?
From watching the first Phoenix Orange County game, I do think it just boils down to, I know that you were focusing on the midfield. I think it boils down to how well they can neutralize the attack. Orange County did a pretty good job of making sure that the ball didn't find its way into the attacking third very often. There was almost always somebody back, which is not always the case with Orange County. I think it basically boils down to that front three, whoever they put in the front three with Asante and John, whoever that third person is, versus the Orange County backline. I think that Orange County is going to get some chances, but it's going to boil down to how well Orange County can defend, which is always a little bit of a worry because on set pieces we've given up a few here and there on set pieces, and I believe John had the goal at Orange County the last time we played. I was kind of blown away about how well Orange County did defend and got back and fought against that kind of counter. I think it basically boils down to, can we stop the attack at midfield or shortly thereafter? Because I think if Phoenix finds their way into the attacking third, they're going to be a tough team to stop. So I do think that midfield play is going to be important, and I do think our back line is going to be super huge. And McLean's going to have to come up with a couple really big saves in order to keep us in this game. I'm hoping that we can escape Phoenix with a draw. I'd be super stoked with coming away with the draw. Like I said, Phoenix is scoring in buckets right now. It's like they basically, you spot them 2 goals and you just hope they don't score 4.
All right, let's get into this. Let's do our predictions for this match. I'm going to go with the outsider opinion here. I'm just going to go to Brad first. Your predictions for Orange County versus Phoenix, as far as the score and maybe the key player for either team in this match, Brad.
I'm going to stay out of the key player business. I feel like that's going to be for you guys to take care of because you guys both know the teams better than I do. But just hearing arguments aside and being the neutral outsider, I'm going to have to go with the team that's hot in this case. And I get it. I am going against the host of this podcast in this case. It's going to be close. I have Phoenix 3-2. I think that they're scoring in buckets right now. You won the last one. You don't need to give me the thumbs down, Ray. You guys won the last one. You guys will draw. If you had 180 minutes, it would be a draw across the season. But right now, I think ever since you guys beat Phoenix at home a couple weeks ago, Phoenix has been on fire. And I think they continue this week.
Kevin, as the guest, let's go to you.
So thanks to ESPN Plus, I went back and looked at the game earlier in early May between OC and Phoenix. Where I came out of it, and I can't really speak to OC at all, so I'm just keeping it real. But the Phoenix Rising team that we have on the pitch right now, especially defensively, is completely different than what we put on the field before. I think John Baccaro is going to come out as the highlight player of the match. I think our offense is going to be able to roll pretty well. I'm not sure if we're going to score in buckets. I'm going to go 3-1 Phoenix.
All right, Alan, what about you?
I'm going to go with a hopeful 2-2 draw. I do think keeping Phoenix off of the score sheet is going to be kind of next to impossible with the way they've been playing, the form that they're in. I want to be realistic and say that, I mean, if it's a clean sheet, I'm going to go absolutely nuts. Like, I'm going to go crazy. My parents won't know who I am. I just don't think we keep Phoenix off of the score sheet with the way that they're playing. So I think I'm going to go 2-2 draw. I think Vinicius gets another tally. I think he's got an opportunity to really cement his role in this team with seats out, and I hope that he puts one in. And I hope that at least one of my fantasy players also scores a goal like maybe a nice Leonardo header again, which would be great, or maybe some redemption for Grisostomo to get one in that isn't called back for offside.
Dylan, what about you?
2-2. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
Maybe Vinicius and Aiden Quinn scoring. I just, these teams. Look at the last 10 times these teams have played, and they're so dead even. And I know Phoenix is in really great form right now, but I think this is one of those games that Orange County really rallies for, and probably plays one of the better games of the year. And sure, that means it's a draw, but it's a draw against arguably one of the best teams in the league, and on the road as well. I mean, this is one of those where if we leave with a draw, I go crazy on my way to the airport, leaving Phoenix for much greener pastures, and I'll be thrilled. And if we win, I will probably lose my mind. So,
Well, and if we win or draw, then we have to go and we'll have to go and plan what we're going to do when we take over the Rising as One podcast.
Monitor for an hour, and you guys pick up the last 30 minutes.
Oh, that'll be so awesome. You know what? I'm not going to mess with the broken thing. So last time these two teams played, I made my predictions, and it worked out well for Orange County. I'm going to predict Phoenix 5-0 is going to beat Orange County. And
that's right.
Yeah, and let's go with I don't know who's going to be the key player. Let me pick a random player off the website. Adam John will be the key player for Phoenix in that 5-0 victory, which again last time worked out great for Orange County. So I'm hoping I'm not going to mess with a good thing. I'm just going to keep going with it until it doesn't work. So hopefully,
Ray, that is one of the worst takes I've ever heard, man.
It worked last time. It worked. You know, the funny thing about it is the last time these two teams played at Championship Soccer Stadium, Dylan, myself, Alan, we did a live pregame podcast at the stadium, and I reminded everyone about my prediction of 5-0 Phoenix. And literally when I did that, the Orange County players that were coming over to the section where we were to sign autographs were walking up, heard me say that, and they turned around and walked back, probably to the locker room or wherever they went. But in the end, it worked out. Orange County won, and I'm hoping for it again because I really want to share my thoughts on the Rising as One podcast. I know all of those Phoenix fans want to hear me, want to hear Dylan reading poetry, want to hear Alan talking about whatever Alan talks about on a Phoenix podcast. School unions, right?
Oh my!
Yes,
this is that could go south.
That'll be the best episode ever of that podcast. I'm just ready for it. We're gonna get like hate mail and death threats and all that fun stuff when we do that. I think I'm scaring Dylan off right now as I speak.
I expect it. I'd be amazed if we haven't already gotten them.
Especially if I'm the voice they have to hear on that. I'm going to be going all out. I'm going to be bringing all the fire and all the.
Yeah, you might as well just bring the shade, man. You might, if you get the opportunity, just bring it hardcore because that's what we do, you know.
I'm going to hire like butterflies to be dancing in the background, and that's
money for this.
I will invest my own money into it if it's going to rile up the Phoenix fans.
Get a new hobby, man. Jesus.
Hopefully it happens. I'm ready for this. Hopefully they don't back out on it either, and they don't say, "Oh, we didn't say that." I have the tweets. Any last thoughts on this upcoming match? Either Brad as an outsider, or Kevin as the losing side's representative.
Good Lord.
Well, it was nice being invited to these podcasts with my prediction.
Kevin, it's all in fun and games. I mean,
all I can say is if you're going to show up to the game as fans, don't leave the game early. We had a bunch of Las Vegas loser fans who left the game early because we were kicking their butt, and they left about 15 minutes before the match was over. And to make things worse, they accused Phoenix Rising fans of threatening them. They said they got intel that we were going to quote unquote get them. And I'm like, I haven't heard that term since like 4th grade, man. What are you talking about? So don't be lame.
Did Soccer Mom like share insider information or what?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. So, come represent, be loud, be proud, do all that stuff, but do not leave the match early because then you will just lose any respect we might have.
And then when Orange County wins, we're allowed to storm the field, correct?
Yeah, well, we don't have to worry about that.
Well, I have to stay because I have to write up the winning match recap and send it in.
God.
Yes.
I should have made a deal with you guys too. I would have flown your asses out here, put you on YouTube, and humiliated you on video. That would have been.
And we'll take over your show if you want to do a bet right now. We'll take over your show.
Don't worry, Kevin. We'll meet up. I'll buy you a beer.
There we go. Hey, yeah, we got to figure out where we're going to do that. There's a lot of quality beer in Phoenix. That is an upside.
Might I recommend Four Peaks?
You know what? I think there's better than Four Peaks actually. Don't. There's Phoenix Rising sponsor, so you got to be careful there. But what's that?
I should have you write up something about the best spots to eat in Phoenix because there was some website I was looking at that was willing to pay people to write if you write up on your website or your blog the best spots to eat in Phoenix, you'll get money. I should have brought you in and said, hey, Kevin, come write that up and we'll pay you 50% of whatever we make off of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with food. I'm better with whiskey.
All right, there we go.
It all works out.
Let's get into I guess our random stuff. This has been an extra long episode, so I don't want to go too long. Let's get into our random thoughts. Let's go, Brad. Brad, what is your random thought to share with our listeners in this episode?
All right. Well, I hope I'm not taking anybody else's random thoughts with this one, but I got to give the ladies a shout out for a 13-0 World Cup debut this year.
Careful, don't celebrate about it.
What?
Said don't celebrate about it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I don't want to celebrate excessively because then I might get made fun of and ridiculed by the rest of the international community. No. This is the World Cup. How many of those people scored their first ever World Cup goal and wanted to celebrate it? But Mallory Pugh scored in the 84th minute and she wanted to celebrate even though it was goal number 12. Celebrate it. That's your World Cup goal. I don't understand everybody getting all upset about that. If you don't want someone to be celebrating a 13th goal of the game. If you don't want them to celebrate it, don't allow it. It's that easy.
Just take them out.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we can't act like Thailand's on the same level. They don't have any amount of support that the US has, which is why it seems
they should have brought out some what is it, Muay Thai kickboxing in the middle of that match. The girls should just started just going crazy and just doing roundhouse kicks or whatever.
It is their second World Cup.
Commentators were hinting at. They're like, oh, you gotta watch out because they might go for injuries. They might try and injure US players now. It's already 8-0. Nothing in the game has suggested that. The amount of ego from the commentators in this match was embarrassing.
It was insane.
It's Thailand's second World Cup.
You have nothing to add here.
It's their second World Cup and they won a game last time. So it's not like they've never won anything ever and it's
it's not like they're Bangladesh or something like that.
It's the World Cup. It's not like a friendly. If it's a friendly for sure. If it's a 12-year-old game, sure, this is the World Cup.
Goal differential matters in this.
Yeah. 100%.
There you go.
Just ask Senegal.
Oh, but in all seriousness, thanks for having me on again, guys. It's been a pleasure. Congratulations to you guys for a year. Looking forward to that hairbed again, 100%. My girlfriend sitting next to me has just learned about it. And
so you got to bring where's she at? Bring her on here. We want to hear her thoughts on this bet.
Do you want to share your thoughts on the bet?
Yeah, I'd love to.
She would love to. Hold on one second.
Right up until July, and then
Am I allowed to cuss?
No.
Okay. Here we go. You can cuss. I just need to mark down when you're a cuss because I don't want to have to mark this as advisory. So go for it.
Look at this. He is a beautiful curly head man. You are making him lose his golden locks. This is so messed up.
Hey.
All Reno has to do is win.
Tell his team not to suck.
I mean, yeah, it's simple. Win. Please do. Anyways, that's Hannah's thoughts. Thank you.
Oh my, that was actually a good take.
Cheers,
that was the best part of our anniversary episode right there.
Guest of the year.
Guest of the year, yeah.
Brad.
Still not you, Brad, but we're getting closer.
Hannah is going to be our guest of the year. It's between Hannah and the Three Birds Bold cast at this point. But yeah, Brad, how do you dare make this bet without talking to her about it and letting her know what you're doing? She's going to hate you once you have to shave the head off.
Easy answer.
Dylan has no one to answer to at this point, I don't think. So,
See, when I made the bet, I had no one to answer to. I wasn't dating her yet at the time, and now that
tell her to calm down. Tell her it's this is a.
Oh, she knows.
Okay.
But I am a man of honor, and I have since said that I will continue the bet, and I have no ambitions to call it off because I know that my hair is safe.
Wait. Really quick. And you don't have to bring her back on, but I want you to honestly ask her if your hair is safe.
Is my hair safe? I mean, she went to the. She's seen one Reno 1868.
Okay, just ask her. Just ask her. Is your hair safe?
Is my hair safe?
Honestly, I don't know.
Oh, wrong
That's
answer.
rough. That's rough. That's the reggae boys
right
around
there.
that.
Oh. That'll be awesome. And we definitely, once this all happens, we're definitely going to have your girlfriend's name is Hannah, right?
Yes.
We're going to have Hannah back on this episode once you are bald so we can find out what she thinks of your freshly shaved head. Cause I think that'll be awesome. And amazing on that. Cause it's going to happen. You guys are coming down for the damn summer camp game where there's going to be 3,000 little kids screaming at the match.
Yeah, I'll bring a little sign. It'll say "all for my hairline." You know.
Oh, Kevin, do you know about this bet?
I do not.
Okay,
no.
so the opening match of the season was against us in Reno 1868, and Brad put his head of hair on the line. Dylan put his on the line, and the losing team, that person would have to shave their head. Dylan called him out. Dylan called him out because the whole thing was because the original bet was between me and John. The losing side would have to change their logo for their podcast to the other team's colors. Yeah. And then Dylan said, "Hey, let's up the ante. Let's go for a head of hair." And Brad said, "Sure." And unfortunately, in that first game, it ended up a draw. Well, I guess luckily for Orange County because
luckily.
So we decided let's just push the hair thing back to the next match, which is in Orange County, a day game when we have what's called our day camp game, where basically like every day camp in the area brings their kids out to the match. So there's literally 3,000 kids that are aged probably 6 to 12 at the match. And then the, remaining, couple hundred adults that can skip work to come to a soccer match are there. So it'll be pretty fun. And we're definitely going to get video of whoever is losing their hair.
I was going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys talked with the front office and they said that they'd allow after the game the shaving of the head on the field, maybe?
They've said possibly. It's considered. Okay. Well, I think the main thing is they said you need to bring a tarp or something so we make sure no hair gets stuck.
That's easy. That's easy.
We'll try and work our best to get that done. I will actually not be here for that match.
Oh,
so Dylan's gonna have to control it. I'm gonna be in Boise of all places.
Oh gosh.
I will be watching the stream and I will be looking for that Facebook or YouTube live video of Brad's hair being shaved by Dylan or Alan if Alan can make it up to the match.
They have internet in Boise?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
I mean, if they have it in Reno, they have it in Boise. I noticed Brad didn't laugh at that one.
That's fair.
Yeah, he didn't like that one.
Well, I mean, Brad tried to poison us with some poison alcohol, or it wasn't Brad, it was some of the other guys from Reno.
Oh, Malort. Oh, that stuff is great.
That stuff is horrible.
Hey, no, if anything, it's the what did I feed you, Dylan? That I have a couple extra cans that I'm bringing down for that game too. By the way.
Oh my god.
Gosh, what was it? Lunar Hosen Marzen by Lead Dog Brewing up here in Reno.
Have you ever tried Malort?
No.
It's rubbing alcohol.
Look, it's from Chicago, so you know it's garbage.
Yeah, that's garbage. Yeah.
It's like when you go to Wiener Schnitzel. Yeah, I'm not getting the Chicago dog, please. Man, that was like a 15-minute random thought from Brad. Let's go to Kevin for a random thought. Again, it could be soccer related. It could be just anything. I mean, it could be a book.
I'm just going to make it short and sweet. My girlfriend's Thai. So today for 2 hours we were not friends. It was kind of funny. A brutal 2 hours for her. Women's team, props for them. Celebrate every goal you make. Totally 100% behind it. But I got to give props to the Thai team. They played a clean game the whole game. They held their heads high. They didn't melt down. They didn't do anything stupid. And I just thought that was really respectable. We don't even see that with some of our USL teams. So I got to give them major props.
Awesome. What about, let's go to Alan.
My random thought is soccer related, and it is props to the St. Louis team for taking out Chicago in the Open Cup today. Shout out to Phil Grooms and the entire St. Luligans, I think is their group. But I do have to point out there was a point toward the end where a Chicago guy tries to push the St. Louis goalie, slips, falls, and the referee falls on top of him. It is one of the funniest things I think I've seen in soccer since Tottenham's attempt to beat Liverpool. But literally, the referee literally falls over the player. It's because the referee runs up, and I'm gonna show this in the camera from my phone, but it'll loop back around again. Shoves, falls over, referee falls over the player, and it's the most awkward thing to have ever happened in soccer. And I just couldn't. It was so good. It was so good. So if you have a chance to watch back the St. Louis Chicago game, it's good soccer, it's good footy, and the referee falling over the Chicago guy toward the end was pretty classic. So that's my random thought of the day.
Dylan, what is your random thought?
Hey, before Dylan jumps on,
Kevin,
can I interrupt just real quick? Kevin. I'm sorry. I'll make it extremely fast, but I should have made my random thought. I'm wearing my Phoenix Rising Pride Month jersey. They've made special jerseys for Pride Month. Big shout out to all of the members of the LGBT community. Love them, support them. We do a lot of stuff from our supporters group. I think you guys do an OC also. And just huge props and support and love.
All right, Dylan, now your turn.
I love it. No, I'm all about this. I'm bummed that we don't have a Pride jersey, but I don't.
Your random thought's going to be about the fantasy soccer, right?
No, it's not, because it really. I'm happily in last place because I would happily donate every month instead of June. But since no one's already listening to this podcast, and Father's Day is this weekend, and most of us have dads. Some of us have two dads. Not myself, but
Get to it, man. Get to it.
We're being very inclusive. I'm gonna read a poem because no one's listening already. So this is Those Winter Sundays by Robert Hayden. Sundays too, my father got up early and put his clothes on in the blue back cold. Then with cracked hands that ached from labor in the weekday weather, made banked fires blaze. No one ever thanked him. I'd wake and hear the cold splintering, breaking. When the rooms were warm, he'd call, and slowly I would rise and dress, fearing the chronic angers of that house. Speaking indifferently to him, who had driven out the cold and polished my good shoes as well. What did I know? What did I know of love's austere and lonely offices? So, if you have a dad or two dads or a parent of some sort, you should probably tell them you love them or something this weekend. Maybe do something nice for them, because
tell them you love them.
My parents have spent a lot of time and energy, and all they've gotten is me. So, pay it back with a few kind words or a nice kind action.
Dylan, man, you're a big part of this podcast. You're a big part of everything in this world. So don't talk like that. All they got is you. Did I ruin it?
And two other kids.
I have a couple things to talk about. First, let's talk about this wonderful locker room that was provided for Nashville SC at the Bethlehem Steel match that was played at somewhere in LaSalle. I don't know if you don't know what I'm talking about. Go check out social media. It was sort of like a spot on the side of the field with some random goals blocking random people from going over there. I'm sure you guys all saw it. it's pretty ridiculous what was provided and what was called a locker room. So yeah,
I thought
pretty.
USL had standards about that. It was really surprising because I could have sworn that the USL had certain criteria you have to meet for the locker room, provide showers, that kind of thing. So seeing that was very discouraging and surprising.
Well, you
Well,
could have
they
stopped
let.
it. I thought the USL had standards, and you could have ended there.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Still
let
would've
Las
made
Vegas into the league, so yeah, it was weird. When I saw the first initial tweet, I thought it was some like joke tweet about this is our locker room type thing. But then when you start reading about this is actually what it was, it's pretty ridiculous. It's pretty sad. Um, for every like couple steps the league takes forward in trying to evolve soccer in the US, you get something like this where they didn't like check what was going on in this situation in this temporary or random, whatever stadium. So it sort of sucks for the league. It makes the league look bad. And ultimately it makes every team in the league look bad because this is what happened. So sort of sucks in that. Other thing to just briefly mention is our fantasy soccer for playing for Pride. My team is in first at this point after week 2. My team has 38 total points. Alan's team has 28 total points. Dylan's team has 12 points. Dylan's team is playing shorthanded because he picked Charlie Adams, who was recently released by the club. And he also has Aiden Quinn, who missed this last match. So I think Dylan has already accepted that he's going to come in last place in this. And ultimately, it's between myself and Alan. But Alan somehow picked Aaron Cervantes as his first goalkeeper, or as the first goalkeeper pick. So Patrick McLean dropped into my team, and I think I'm benefiting from that. We'll see how things go. Follow us on social media to see who ends up winning. Again, the 2 losing sides will be donating to Playing for Pride, $25 each. The winner side probably will, I'm going to win. So I probably will donate as well, but it is what it is. Sorry, Alan. Sorry, Dylan. I'm going to win. I picked the better team. I mean, I could probably read off the teams to Brad and Kevin, and they barely know Orange County. They're going to look at the teams. They're going to be like, yeah, Ray picked the right team. Dylan picked the crappiest team ever.
I cannot believe you disrespect Aiden Quinn like that. I hope he never speaks to you at a game ever again.
Aiden Quinn was like your one good pick, and that was your first pick. And Alan had the very first pick, then you,
I
and
hope
then
Koji Hashimoto never even looks you in the eye ever again.
You had Hashimoto, you had Charlie Adams, who isn't even on the team anymore. You had Contra Owasu Ansu and Walker Hume. You picked 2 defenders in fantasy soccer where most of the points are goals and assists. I mean, Kevin, Brad, if you're picking fantasy soccer for where there's no points for defense really, except for starting a game, would you pick 2 defenders on your team?
No.
I mean, I listened to
players.
I listened to the episode, and by the sounds of it, there was slim pickings left in the first place for at least one of those picks.
The second pick was Contra Owasu Ansu. The third pick was Walker Hume. 2 defenders in his top 50% of picks.
Oh, okay. I can't defend you. I tried. Dylan, I tried. I can't defend you anymore.
Oh, my.
Sorry, Dylan. I have to call you out on it, man. That was, yeah. What do you got to say, Dylan?
I don't regret anything. I really don't.
His team was like the Tacoma Defiance of our fantasy.
And hey, right here, my last pick, and he's been one of the best players on the team since I picked him right there. That's why he's on what Dylan calls my fat head wall right here. I'll be adding more players as we go through the season. But
he's only good because I called him out on the podcast.
Hey, what you called him out? Hey,
just like I called the team out for not going over to the fans at an away game on Twitter.
Did they do it on? They do it.
Team goes over.
Awesome. Yeah, that wraps things up with this. This has been an extra long episode, our anniversary episode. We've been around for 1 year, and it's all because of you, the people that listen to this podcast. If we started this a year ago and a year into it, we saw only like 2 people listening to us, Dylan and I would probably say, you know what? I guess we're not that good at this. And Alan joined us recently. So the 3 of us would be like, yeah, it's not working out if only 2 people are listening to us. But there's people listening to this podcast. We keep it going, and we do it because of people that listen, like you, those of you that are listening to us right now. So for all of you, thank you so much for supporting us, for listening to us, for listening to the random craziness that we have to say. Sometimes we're smart and we talk about real smart soccer things. Sometimes we just are random and talk about the stupidest things, but you guys still listen to us anyways. A big part of our success has also been our guests that have joined us, like Alicia, like Kevin, like Bradley, and anyone else that has joined us through this year. We want to thank all of you for taking time.
Hannah.
Yeah, like Hannah too. Yeah, Hannah is now one of those official guests that have joined us. We want to thank you all because you don't make money, you don't get anything out of joining us except for the excitement and the fun of talking soccer with other soccer fans in this world. So we appreciate all the help for our guests that take the time out of the day to join us. If you are listening to us continuously, thanks for it. If you're listening to us for the very first time, go back and listen to some old episodes. Hear what we have to say. We always talk about stuff that happened in the past, every single episode. So it's also fun and great and awesome. It's soccer stuff. So for our guests, Alicia, for Kevin, for Brad, and then for our regular contributors, Dylan, Alan, myself, this is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, and we are out.
Win or lose, we will always follow you. Let it rain, let it pour, we will sing forevermore. Our opponents know we will fight until the show. Forever orange and black, you can bet your life on that. CLC, ole, ole, ole. CLC, ole, CLC, ole, ole. CLC, ole, ole, ole. CLC, ole, CLC, ole, ole.
Thanks to our sponsor, Golden Goal Press, the best choice for you to get custom shirts, hats, mugs, and other items for just yourself or your organization. Check out their amazing products at a fraction of the price of other places at goldengoalpress.com. Also, thanks to Roughneck Scarves, official scarf supplier to the MLS, USL, and US Soccer. Get custom scarves for your group or team at roughneckscarves.com.
Almost heaven, Orange County, Saddleback Mountain, Santa Ana River. Life is new here, fresher than the breeze. It's close to the mountains, sweetheart to the beach. County roads take me home to the place I belong. Orange County, soccer mama, take me home. County road, all my memories gather round us. The coalition of strangers to good soccer. Dark and dusty, the days that you see, I hear beneath the moonlight, our voices lifted high. County roads take me home to the place I belong. Orange County, soccer mama, take me home. County road, they'll hear our voices, the hours that we're singing. Follow them forever, nothing's too far away. Driving down that road, I get a feeling that we're much better than we were yesterday. Yesterday, county roads take me home to the place I belong.